Formula 1 is back this weekend, round 2 of the 2020 season, the Styrian Grand Prix. Though it's a different title, we remain at the exact same venue as last weekend, the Red Bull Ring. What a race it was, what a circuit this is. Can this weekend though live up to the mighty expectations set from round 1 in the championship? The Styrian or Steiermark Grand Prix is the second of 3 consecutive races, the Hungarian Grand Prix next weekend before a week's break, then back-to-back British Grand Prix, the Spanish Grand Prix, Belgium and Italy round off our 8-round calendar, but expect more to be announced over the next few weeks and months. Last season, 2019, Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari pole position led the majority of the Grand Prix. However, a late charge from Max Verstappen claimed the victory. Bottas rounded off the podium. An off weekend for Lewis Hamilton. However, we know from last week Ferrari aren't quite up to scratch. Reliability question marks with Red Bull, Mercedes and pretty much every other team on the grid. It really is all to play for. Last weekend, your top 10 in the race looked like this. Bottas claiming the first victory of the season. Leclerc, a stunning drive. My driver of the day in P2. But it was my driver of the weekend, Lando Norris, 4th in qualifying. His first ever podium in Formula 1 in the race. What a cracking weekend the British driver had. Lewis Hamilton, a penalty after qualifying sent him back down to 5th place on the grid, fought back through the Grand Prix, but contact with Alex Albon late on forced a penalty, giving Norris his first ever podium. Sainz, Perez, Gasly, Ocon, Giovinazzi and Vettel rounded out the top 10, with Vettel himself really struggling over the weekend. Nicholas Latifi in 11th was your only other finisher. And as such, your championship order is the exact same as the Grand Prix. The only slight difference, Lando Norris is on 16 points because he's got 3rd place and also fastest lap from the Grand Prix. The Constructors' Championship though is a little bit more spicy to look at. Mercedes lead by 11 points over McLaren. Ferrari are in 3rd, but their race pace really doesn't suggest they should be anywhere near 3rd position. Racing Point, Alfa Tauri, Renault and Alfa Romeo have all scored. Williams, Haas and Red Bull all yet to score. However, Williams have finished a Grand Prix with one of their cars, Nicholas Latifi, so are in a legitimate 8th place, beating Haas and beating Red Bull. Formula 2 also returns this weekend. Masterful performances from both Callum Ilott, Robert Schwartzman and Drugovich last weekend. Ilott winning the feature race, Drugovich, the rookie, winning the sprint race. Guan Yu Zhou, however, pole position, looked to be winning the feature race before reliability issues. Can he recover this weekend? A circuit we know he's very, very quick at. Schwartzman currently leads the rookie standings. Your tyre choice for this weekend, I hate to say it folks, is the exact same as last weekend. C2, C3 and C4, with all teams using 2 hard, 3 medium and 8 soft tyres. And as always, 1 mandatory pit stop required during the Grand Prix. Weather, before we jump into the hot lap, it's looking spicy once again. 65% chance and thunderstorms expected on both Friday and Saturday. However, race day looks to be completely bone dry. 0% chance of rain according to AccuWeather. Hopefully they're not accurate on this one. Right, shall we crack on with the show? Let's have our hot lap for the Austrian Grand Prix finally on the brand new F1 2020 video game. Welcome ladies and gentlemen to your hot lap for the 2020 Red Bull Ring Austrian Grand Prix. Into turn 1, making sure we nail bang and bang both apexes, entry and exit, because heading up towards the silent turn 2 and 3, DRS will be in effect. Crucial for qualifying, even more crucial for overtaking midway through the Grand Prix. Turn 3, another really tight right-hander, but this one is so crucial Lap 1, scraps galore, heading towards turn 4. DRS once again in effect for the second consecutive straight. Turn 4, one of the prime overtaking opportunities throughout the race. As we head into sector 2, overtake opportunities become far more minimal, but this sector with two tight right-handers and left-handers is crucial for qualifying, making sure you've got the guts to go through these consecutive corners almost flat out. With 2 to go now, the very short lap here in Austria is make or break, hugging that apex of the penultimate corner, and the final one a little bit more slower on entry, but on exit it's as easy as you like. And that is your lap of the Austrian Grand Prix. Moving on then to your quick news roundup of stories in the world of Formula 1 this week. And my goodness, considering there's just been 1 week since the last Grand Prix, so many juicy stories. First of all, the Formula 1 2020 game launched on Tuesday with awesome new features, including the new My Team mode, where you can bring an 11th team to the Formula 1 grid and sign a Formula 2 driver to come up into Formula 1 alongside yourself. But my personal favourite addition this year is the introduction of a full Formula 2 career mode before you jump in to Formula 1. I'm waiting for a few more liveries and customisation options for the My Team before I really jump into that, but so far I'm loving it. Back onto the Formula 1 side of things, driver outings for Robert Kubica for Alfa Romeo this weekend, making his return since the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. But also Jack Aitken will make his Formula 1 debut in a practice session for Williams this weekend in FP1. So that's going to be something to keep your eye out for. And no confirmation just yet of which driver he's going to replace. My guess would be George Russell, considering Russell has had more Formula 1 experience compared to Latifi. And the huge story, it broke yesterday, he's back. The return of the king, it's being dubbed. Fernando Alonso has signed for Renault for 2021. If you want to know my quick thoughts, yesterday I posted a 10-minute video, I think roughly it was, giving just my initial reaction to the whole situation and the statements from Cyril Beatable and Fernando himself. I didn't see this one coming. It's a risk in itself from Renault, but it's just great to see someone like Alonso back in Formula 1. And that is pretty much it for the news, and we'll swiftly move on to my favourite part of the weekend, pretty much, except the race of course, prediction time. Last week, I predicted a Bottas win, and he won the Grand Prix. Congratulations to me, but pretty much the rest of it I got wrong, so don't ever trust these predictions, they are a bit of fun. And as always, my favourite predictions from you guys, following the narrative I'll set in a little moment's time, I will feature in tomorrow's practice report. So, my predictions for the Styrian Grand Prix look a little bit like this. I've gone with the Lewis Hamilton pole position, Bottas P2. The gap was so minimal between the two of them. Was it a 100th between the two of them last time out? I think Hamilton will just have a little bit more fire in his belly this weekend after a disappointing start to the season. But Mercedes, the class of the field last weekend, and I don't see that changing this weekend. 1-2 for the Silver Arrows. And I've gone with the Verstappen third, pretty much following the same narrative as last weekend. He was pretty much in that best of the rest category, comfortably in front of the midfield, but a little bit behind the two Mercedes boys. In the race though, I've flipped it up. I think Mercedes, both cars, and I was kind of questioning whether I'd even to put Hamilton in the top 5. Those reliability issues they had last weekend surely are going to carry over to this weekend. And if that is the case, those cars, pretty much from lights out, are going to have to be nursing that car to the finish. So I've predicted that Hamilton will win. Those cars without reliability issues should easily be winning those Grand Prix. So I kind of wanted to go for a 1-2 again, but I feel at least one of them surely has got to retire. So I've gone Verstappen second, Alex Albon to get his first Formula 1 podium, redemption from the first weekend of the season. And I've put Stroll and Ricciardo in 4th and 5th, mainly because both of those drivers retired from the first race, and so in theory should have better reliability in this race compared to the likes of the two McLarens, the two Ferraris, Perez, and also Ocon. But to be featured in tomorrow's video, I want to know your predictions for the race, and this is your grid to follow. Number 1 pole position, front row, and biggest shock from qualifying and in the race. The winner, the podium, first retirement, driver of the day, and best of the rest. Everyone pretty much went for Red Bull wins last week, so I'm interested to see how that changed for this weekend. Fantasy League, before we go, yeah, it wasn't a good weekend for my team. 2,900 of you are in the league. Goodness me. Last year I think we had 300, so thank you all for joining, but you're all absolutely destroying me. I got minus 10 points last weekend. I was a little bit of a silly Billy and made a substitution, brought Norris into my team after qualifying without knowing I get a hefty penalty for doing that. So though it was a great decision in the fact that he got a podium, I got punished for it. Add on to the fact that Grosjean and Russell retired and Hamilton went backwards and got penalties. It was a mess. I'm on minus 10 points. Hopefully, taking out Sebastian Vettel, putting in Norris will help me this weekend. But I tell you what, I've got a lot of making up to do over the season. And finally, before I leave you, this is your weekend schedule. Feel free to screenshot it. I do. No one ever seems to post just a very simplistic showing of the weekend. British time, practice 2 and Formula 2 qualifying on Friday. Qualifying for Formula 1 is 2 o'clock on Saturday with the feature race following shortly after. And Sunday, race day, sprint race Formula 2 in the morning, 10 past 10, and the Grand Prix kicks off at 10 past 2. Thank you all for watching. So much support and love for the new version of the preview last weekend. So hopefully, though it's the same track this weekend, hopefully it was a little bit different today. As always, if you want to keep up to date with all of your Formula 1 2020 news reviews, all that good stuff, subscribe button is down below. Thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.